Cairo, Seattle.
The path to coaching football doesn't always happen on the field. Perhaps one of the most interesting ways we've seen someone not only become a coach, but a very successful head coach in Division I is Mike Leach. He's been an actor, a lawyer, a best-selling author, and you know him for the head coaching ability of what he's doing at Washington State with the Cougars. Mike Leach joins me on this edition of Schooled with a Professor.
It's time to get schooled with the professor, John Clayton.
How are you doing?
Doing great.
Hey, Coach, we're having a little hard time hearing you.
Okay, let me see this thing. How about now?
Yeah, there's just a lot of muffled sound in the background.
All right. Hello?
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Okay. Have you figured out what interesting study place you're going to go for vacation this year?
I haven't. No, I'm scrambling. It's hand-to-hand combat now this time of year with recruiting.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I'll get into it here so we can get you back and get all the players. Hey, Mike, I want to start off here with kind of a trivia question. Okay, so what do Paul Johnson, David Cutcliffe, Chad Morris, Sonny Dykes, Hugh Freeze, and Mike Leach have in common?
You're asking me?
I'm asking you, yeah.
Well, none of us played college football, but the one, in basketball's always had a quality like that. There's an awful lot of basketball coaches that never played. And I don't know why so few football and why so many basketball. It would be that way.
It is kind of amazing, but it's like, and I guess not a surprise because, it's strategy, it's thinking, and all that. But what I find so amazing is that of those other guys, how many have you worked with, or they all, because in a lot of ways, many study the same type of offense and the same type of philosophies.
Well, I know almost all those guys. I can't remember all of them on the list, but I know almost all those guys. The one thing, and I can't say everybody, but I had a real rewarding high school experience, and so I drew from that and became real interested football-wise from there, and then played rugby all through college. So it was something competitive and a team-related sport and all the lessons that are learned within that setting. And then, but I do think coaching football, coaching basketball, coaching anything is like it's like being an electrician, an accountant, a chef, a plumber, a doctor, a lawyer. I mean, I think you develop your skills, you learn your trade, you study it, you work at it very hard and then and improve as you go,
I mean, what got you to make the decision to do this? Because obviously it's like all you guys, the six of you, have all had great successes. It's almost like you all kind of came together and have kind of changed the game and changed it in a positive way, but doing it your own way.
I can't honestly say on that. I do think this, I found this when I was coaching. I mean, I backed into it, really. So as I started coaching, you found that there was kind of two things on some questions or some subjects, which was, well, it's always been done like this. You just do it that way, and that's the way it is, and that's the way football's always been done. So in other words, kind of a by the book thing. By the book, you do this. By the book, the strategy's that. By the book, you block it this way. And then, in my case, sometimes the failure to have the book to begin with, I mean, I wasn't aware what the book said. Well, then, it becomes more of a trial and error. Here's a problem, and how do I solve it? And and I think in the course of that, occasionally some pretty good points of view and methods were discovered and can be.
Like when you started talking to other coaches and saying, "Oh, I'm going to do this and do this," were they shaking their head and saying, "What are you thinking here?"
Oh, sometimes. I mean, sometimes for sure. But then, and then as it became less haphazard, in my case, and I can't speak for everybody, as it became less haphazard and I just knew the general confines, then it became numbers and space. I mean, you got so many guys, how do you utilize those to the best of your ability, and then how do you attack the space?
I know because again, I've covered football all my life. It's like everything in football in the conventional world is so regimented. I mean, everything all by the schedule, all do this. Everybody does it the same way, recopy the same thing. I guess with coming in with fresh ideas and fresh thoughts, and obviously the success backs it up, that had to be so unique and so fun.
Well, because there's a discovery process to it. I mean, as you're doing it, trying it, experimenting with it, and I mean, there's some blunders. I mean, there's some stuff you go to light the fuse on the rocket and it blows you up a little bit. But the other thing is there, we would discover and stumble on some stuff pretty good, or some play or some route or something that's unaccounted for, and and that's always fun. The whole kind of research discovery aspect of things. As a matter of fact, it's probably the biggest temptation that a coach needs to avoid, is because it's always tempting to try, experiment, and do something different. Some you get bored, some you want to try something else out. Some you see the guy down the road doing something that looks kind of interesting, or you want to check out, and then you diminish your ability to execute. And it's important to, I think, always understand the most important thing you do is execute. You have to make sure you have the ability to execute. Never do so much that you can't execute.
What was like the biggest trial and error thing that kind of blew up on you early in the career?
I can't really think of a big one. I mean,
one that you really learned from that made you so much better.
I would say the biggest was just, there'd be all these good ideas and trying to do too much. The notion that, these guys are, everything was a little piece, and they were, surely they can remember this. Well, surely they can execute that. Surely. And each one of them was little. Each one was a small piece, but as you added it all up, I mean, it was a lot, and it was too much to handle. I'll tell you the other thing. There's always a temptation. The more talented a player is, there's always a temptation to, since he's got a big dimension physically, maybe fast, maybe strong, big, all that. So he's very talented, but then it's tempting to think, well, he's really smart too. Well, just because the guy's faster than the other guy doesn't make him smart. Just because he can do some things physically doesn't mean that scheme-wise he can do more or remember more. And, I think sometimes, since the guy's really talented, I'm thinking, well, surely he can handle this, this, and this. Well, if it's mental stuff to handle, you can't overload him any more than the slow guy or the weak guy,
Yeah, I still remember so many years, and I was so fortunate that Mike Martz would share a lot of stories with me, because again, he was so outside the box compared to the traditional NFL, and he would have such a big, thick playbook, and then when he would go in the middle of practices, as he would tell me, or go in sometimes to the games, he would think about something that he did like about 3 years ago, go to the quarterback, who in most cases was experienced enough to be able to pull it off, reach back and try something from years ago, and they're already on it. Big extensive playbook, but what he did was so brilliant that it worked.
Yeah, you can catch some guys off guard with that. You just got to be careful and make sure it complements what you've got in there and what you're doing. I mean, if it's just a route here or a route there, yeah, I mean you can do that. And then it also kind of depends how many people are dependent on the success of the play. I mean, for example, if you have some run play and the backside wide receivers blocks the most important block on the play, it's probably not a very good play,
Mm-hmm. Was there one or two guys that were kind of help mentor you and kind of give you some good guidance on things through the years?
I've had more than I can possibly remember or recall. I mean, everybody, and some of them probably don't even know they were, I mean, because just watching from a distance or trying to learn and trying to study and picking things up, noticing things. I mean, just a ton. I mean, a lot of people. I mean, starting out, certainly, Lavelle Edwards, watching his teams and what they did, Dennis Erickson's teams, Mike Price's teams, the run and shoot, which would range from Mouse Davis to June Jones, even just kind of general organizational stuff. I'd read about Vince Lombardi. I thought Bill Snyder, just as far as kind of frameworking a program and how you ran the day-to-day, I'd have to say Bill Snyder I thought was great. Barry Switzer took me under his wing and, just answer any question I'd ask in Oklahoma. I would sit with Barry a couple times a week and just let him talk and just get him talking and let him talk. So, I can't, it's difficult to really remember all of them. I mean, as many as I could possibly observe and get my hands on.
Yeah, in fact, I still remember so many times I would talk to Mouse Davis, and what's amazing is sometimes the stubbornness of establishment. What I mean by that is you look at what Mouse was doing. He would take the inside guys, and they would be the main receivers, and he would work at 20. From 10-yard line to 10-yard line, and nobody would be able to keep up, but put incredible numbers off. And back then, it was so traditional that virtually nobody copied it. I mean, he had great success with it and was able to do it, but nobody copied it. At least now, there's more copycats that are incorporating it than there were, say, 20 years ago.
I think there's more copycats because film's so much easier to get. There was a time where 16 millimeter, there would only be a few copies of that 16 millimeter film. Your staff would have it, whoever you were getting ready to play would have it. It was very time consuming to cut and paste and clip the plays, and you did end up fastening them together backwards or something. I mean, and then I think what really broke it open was video, because it could be played, recorded quickly, played quickly, lots of copies, handed out. So I think there was that, and it's even faster yet. But, the fact that everybody can get their hands on the film, I think has had a huge impact. So, like, even if a guy doesn't want me to get a hold of their film, I can get it anyway. And how you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, hang on just a second. Yeah, I'm recruiting. So good to see you. Yeah, we're eating lunch. I met a great Ducks fan, and so anyway, he recommends this restaurant. But I forgot what I was saying. Basically,
just the availability of the film has been so.
The availability of film, so everybody could get the film. And then I think it's drawn fans in. Like, for example, the availability of film and how quickly people can get film, and that thing's passed around and all that stuff has led to fantasy football and everything else. And which is the good part is it engages a lot of fans. The other good part is that high school, junior high kids start learning, developing skills, and can duplicate things at a sooner and earlier rate than before.
Yeah, you bring up some of the competitive stuff that teams and coaches would do with that film. I still remember in the NFL, you're right. It's like they would only give you like certain amounts, and sometimes you had to wait an extra day or two because there's supposed to be a sharing system, but it's coaches competing against coaches in the NFL, and sometimes that sharing wasn't too genuine. They would just gotta get it to them as late as possible. Oh, I'm sorry about that delay in getting that to you. We'll get it to you later this week. But now you're right. I mean, I can go on tape as soon as the game's over, and I can watch a game and within 2 days watch the all 22 film, and it's phenomenal.
Oh, that people just push a button now, and now some of it are set in the server or whatever, and they have to be at a certain time, and they'll make sure that you get it in at a certain time, and they monitor a lot of stuff. But in the end, it's good that everybody gets the film, and then and I think it's drawn a lot more people in a bigger fashion than it would have otherwise. And then, of course, as far as learning and plays or anything like that, I mean, I can get a hold of a high school's film if I'm just curious about something about what they're doing. Really, anybody.
So where do you think this is going to take the game in years ahead, both in college and the pros, just with that accessibility? Computers now, they can break things down in distance, certain plays, certain formations, and then just, I'm sure, the eventual analytical look at those plays, both on what the computer says.
I think it's going to do what it's always done, but probably in a different and perhaps more accelerated fashion, which is, just continue to develop, refine, be utilized. I mean, football's the most technology-obsessed sport that there is, and always has been. I mean, football's the best and the worst about us as Americans. I mean, it's aggressive. It's complex. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of individual parts that have different roles. Then there's also the obsession with technology. There's also all the technology wrapped up in it, and because we are technology obsessed, it's like we are a my boat's bigger than your boat society, and around here, and so it's got all that. And I'd have to say that's probably the part I like the least because they don't know how to push the buttons. So my advice to young coaches is learn how to push the buttons, or else have access to a great assistant that does,
And then finally, what's the biggest thing that you cherish coming from a non-college football career to coaching and having such great success? What do you cherish the most?
The day-to-day, the working with the players, the practice, the building, the improvement, and then, of course, the games, which is the ultimate test of improvement. I view games as another opportunity to improve. You want to be successful. You want to win. But, that's the whole, the physical and the mental all coming together.
Well, I'll tell you the big thing I've got to let you do. I've got to get to work on a day-by-day basis, get the recruits going, and then get back to that top level because it was a great season this year. It's going to be better next year. Mike, thanks for joining us.
Thanks. You'll have to come up sometime.
Oh, I'd love to. That'd be great. I'll let you know if I can. Hey, just got to get separated from this NFL thing for a day, but it's always not the easiest thing in the world, but I love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, you'll have to blow them off and come up here. Hey, who are the 8 guys or so you mentioned? I lost track in the midst of the list.
Yeah, here they are. It's Sonny Dykes being one. David Cuntliffe. Chad Morris at SMU. Hugh Freeze at Ole Miss. And Paul Johnson at Georgia Tech.
That Paul and I have talked about. Paul and I have oddly similar offenses if you get right down to it.
Well, Sonny, too.
See, we have originally drew from the wishbone. Because what we have in common with the wishbone, they never throw it, but what we have in common with the wishbone is it's important to us that all the skill positions touch the ball, and that's really the core foundation of the wishbone,
Mm-hmm.
So, well, hey, it's good talking to you.
Okay, Mike, good luck, and thank you.
Yeah, call anytime and come up here sometime.
I will do that.
I'd like to pick your brain, and because you know a lot.
Thank you.
All right, well, thanks.